A young Sheldon actor anything confirms that George indeed dies in Season 7. As the Big Bang Theory prequel, young Sheldon is defined by some of Sheldon's biggest childhood experiences while growing up with his middle-class family in Texas. Inspired by the character's penchant for sharing anecdotes from that time, he revealed so many interesting tales of himself and the rest of the Coopers. Some of them didn't have any impact on the life that he eventually lived as an adult, while others paved the way for his and his family's future. No bigger event in Sheldon's childhood compares to George's demise. Granted that his affair led to the birth of his odd three-knock rule, it didn't have much impact on the rest of the clan. Losing the family patriarch, however, sends them on a significantly different path. Sheldon was able to easily move on from the tragedy because he was focused on his studies and was miles away from home. That being said, things are different from the rest of the family. Now, after years of dancing around the tragedy, young Sheldon has no choice but to tackle George's death. Why George needs to die in Young Sheldon Season 7. There's no way around George's death. Lance Barber's George Cooper in a chair in Young Sheldon. The family sitcom has been carving its path separate from its parent show, and there is proof that its efforts are for the better. Season 6 posted show high ratings, and it has been the furthest it has been to the main series. Like its end, however, several plot lines in Young Sheldon Season 7 are mandated by the Big Bang Theory canon. Despite the prequel's creation of countless plot inconsistencies throughout its run, the creatives behind the project maintain that it exists in the same reality as the nerd-centric sitcom. Following the Big Bang Theory timeline of Sheldon's move to Pasadena means that the prequel should also stick to the established canon about the events around that time, and that includes the death of George. There is some confusion about when exactly the Cooper patriarch dies, but it is supposedly coming up. Because of this, there's an expectation that George will indeed die sometime in Young Sheldon Season 7, although Season 6 skipping his cheating scandal has given hope that the spin-off may deviate from canon to prioritize its own storytelling. Lance Barber bids the Cooper kids goodbye. George actor breaks his silence about Young Sheldon ending. Those hopes are effectively squashed by Lance Barber's Young Sheldon social media post bidding his on-screen kids goodbye. Unlike the younger cast of the series, the actor hasn't been very active online, with his new update serving the first time he comments about the Big Bang Theory prequel ending despite its continued popularity. The image shows Sheldon, Missy, and Georgie actors Ian Armitage, Reagan Reverd, and Montana Jordan all huddled with Barber. In the caption, Barber writes that he will miss the Cooper kids, strongly suggesting that the end of the road for his character is ending. Young Sheldon may be ending, but it's essentially just rebranding to be able to continue via Georgie and Mandy's upcoming spin-off. While only Jordan and Emily Osment are confirmed to return for the new series, there's a good chance that other members of the Cooper family will still be involved, except Sheldon, who will already be in Pasadena, California for his postgraduate studies at Caltech. Barber bidding the Cooper kids goodbye effectively confirms that they won't be in the new offshoot because the character will be dead by the time its events start. In any case, George and Mandy's show is the reason why young Sheldon cannot escape George's death. If the prequel's end also meant wrapping up the Cooper story in Texas altogether, then CBS wouldn't have been forced to tackle the tragedy. Instead, young Sheldon could have ended shortly before George's unexpected demise, allowing the family sitcom to conclude with the Coopers complete and still at home in Texas. Sadly, unless CBS breaks off canon, the Cooper patriarch's death needs to happen one way or another. What needs to happen before George dies? George's cheating scandal can still happen. Lance Barber's George looking at Melissa Peterman's Brenda on Young Sheldon. Since the creatives behind Young Sheldon insist that it still exists in the same universe as the Big Bang Theory, some precursory events still need to happen before George dies. Based on the timeline, George's cheating scandal should have already happened towards the end of Season 6. That being said, considering young Sheldon's penchant for making small changes to big events, it's possible that it can still happen in its remaining days. It will be tricky to fully address the matter, but there's enough motivation to devote some time to the storyline. The show floated that George and Brenda may be having a secret affair. Young Sheldon Season 6's confrontation with Mary may seem like the end of the narrative, but there's still no definitive confirmation that George and Brenda aren't seeing each other secretly. It's one of the biggest plots that has yet to be fully tackled by the prequel, with Mary's own unresolved relationship with Pastor Rob increasing the chances of young Sheldon's motivation to move forward with George's infidelity. How George's death impacts the Coopers' future. The Coopers' lives are changed by George's death. A close-up of George Cooper from Young Sheldon. Because of the nature of George's death, the rest of the Cooper family was caught off guard when he died. That said, specific details about his demise are still unclear. While young Sheldon hasn't been actively setting up his death, especially in latter seasons. The Big Bang Theory revealed pertinent information about what comes after he passes away thanks to stories from Sheldon and some members of his family. The biggest revelations came from adult Georgie, however, who took over the family on the heels of catastrophic loss, while also building his business and taking care of Mandy and Cece.